In a world,
Get the hell up!
where Carolina Panthers fans
Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
have an insatiable thirst
I need to see a lot more of that shit going forward.
for Panthers news and opinions.
All my C3 brethren from the C3 Legion.
Only one podcast roars ferociously.
The longest running Panthers podcast on the internet.
It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Oh, Greg, I owe y'all $100, man.
Coming out of the draft, should the Panthers be buyers or sellers in the trade market? Hunter Renfro's first week with the team. What can we learn from that? Steve Smith hitting. I don't know. We're going to have to do some investigation on the podcast. I tried to tell you that there is loss of affection laws out there in the world. I saw a story floating around. We'll try to figure out what's going on with that. The Panthers draft is in the past. We are going now forward, and now the Panthers might be building to a better future. And we're here to figure it all out on the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My wheelman with his new CP, Cody. Lack, what you doing, bro?
Yeah, buddy, and CP doesn't stand for cripple person, baby. I got a brand new PC. Your boy is rocking. We're doing a show from it tonight for the first time. You know, the fruits of our labors, man. It's been a good weekend for all of us. And, dude, it's a great damn night to be a Panthers fan, man. We're going to talk about some trade rumors. Are the Panthers buyers or sellers in the trade market? Still more rumors about Jadeveon Clowney. A Senior Bowl representative came out and said that one of the Panthers draft picks is going to be a day one impact player. And of course, we have more Steve Smith drama. Tony Dunn, it's a Tuesday night. Tyler Jones has been a member for 31 months. So you know what that means. We're about to do this with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. You know them and love them. It's the brand ambassador, D's Ill Skills, C3 Doug, the C3 Legion in the chat, Stonewall, the Cardiac Cat 13, Tyler Jones, VR the Hope Dealer, and your bastard son, White Chocolate Espresso. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The Canes may be down a goal right now going into the third period, but it's time to make a comeback, just like the Panthers are making a comeback. And you can come back and talk on this show at 252-228-5098. Call into the Cat Calls line at 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, and get ready for the Golden Pipes. CK, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, man, it's another day, another Tuesday in the books, man. It's always nice again talk about Panthers football. But Cody, we messaged the chat today and said, "Bro, I don't know what we're gonna talk about today," and it's
much.
You know, we really do have to scrounge at this point in time. We are starting to get into the that kind of the dead. There's a few dead
dog days of summer, as they say.
Yeah.
It's funny because we get into those moments and they seem to come in ebbs and flows throughout the off season. There doesn't seem to be like we say that we're in this really long period of not having anything to talk about, but then we always within a couple of weeks have something to talk about. So it never stays permanent that way. So it's weird. I don't know that I would put that. You know, it's just going to be a few weeks, man. That's all we got to do. We got to wait a few weeks and then we're good.
'Tis the season of no players getting hurt in their personal workouts, and 'tis the season of no players getting arrested. I haven't felt that there's been an edge to this team to worry enough about arrests for me personally in a long time. maybe we should be rooting back for the days of players that we could have that. I don't know. Did you see the Tet offensive, bro, doing this behind the back cast that's going crazy? We'll probably be showing that in this podcast.
Yeah,
let's make sure, though, that these players, or be praying, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, say your Hail Marys for these players' safety and health and good behavior as we go forward in the doldrums of the season, but never a dull moment on the C3 Panthers podcast. Cody, let's jump into tonight's show. Should the Panthers be buyers or sellers in the trade market is the topic for tonight, as we try to figure out how the Panthers navigate the post-draft era. They've brought in a couple of guys that have been hurt in the past from other teams for personal workouts. They've done some different things, but the Panthers still know. It sounds like the team knows that they're stepping in the right direction, but still have a lot of work to do.
Yes, sir. Is my audio still good? Because I'm
bro.
Okay. I see my video is kind of choppy. I don't know if that's true for everyone else. But yeah, should the Panthers be buyers or sellers in the trade market? But first, we're going to start on some changing sentiments. Boys, we remember very recently when Bryce Young was the butt of jokes. Everybody was calling him a bust. Everybody was saying what a terrible pick that he was, that we should have drafted CJ Stroud. Hell, even a few of us might have said that, you know? But I feel like the sentiment already, just after the end of last season, is starting to change. From top fantasy football, you have Bryce Young currently listed as the 14th overall quarterback. So they're listing him as a top 15 quarterback. What a difference an offseason can make. Gentlemen, I'm going to pass it up to you and pass it up to the wonderful members of the C3 Legion. What is this? Why are people all of a sudden so Bryce? What do you make of this?
The first thing to note about this is that this is a fantasy football projection, and fantasy football projections take into account more than just a player being good, what they're actually going to do for numbers and different things. I think it's a wonderful story, CK, that Bryce Young is being listed as a positive player in the league, right? As somebody to not necessarily shy away from. I have a ton of problems, however, with the players that are listed above him on this list.
Number one, I don't know. Here's the thing. JJ McCarthy listed as 8. You're putting a guy that has never played a snap coming off of an ACL tear. You're only putting him there because of the weapons surrounding him. That is it. There is no other reason that he's there. I lost all faith in this, this ranking. And then you obviously brought on the fact that it's fantasy. But I lost all faith in this when they had Drake May above Patrick Mahomes.
How about Justin Fields?
Justin Fields is going to make sense from a fantasy perspective to me.
Being able to rush the ball. But to be honest, he has not even done that.
Well, he didn't last year, but when he was on the Bears team, he was actually a really good fantasy stalwart for anybody who had him, and me being one of those people who had him actually as a player on my league. It was very disappointing.
Real, CK? I mean, I know you had him on his team. You can tell us this. Was that really real, or was it that game against the Panthers that he threw like 2 touchdowns?
No, dude, he would constantly get you a tremendous. I mean, like, it wasn't always guaranteed to be like 30 points, but the dude would like win me a lot of really, games that should have been a blowout against me. And he was able to get me some points. So that part, I'm a little more hesitant to say, that this ranking is bad because of Justin Fields, but I am willing to do it when you put Patrick Mahomes behind the likes of Drake May and JJ McCarthy,
and Caleb Williams, who coming off of his rookie year did not maybe had a little bit of a surge to the end, but nothing to the effect of Bryce Young. I saw Harvey London just say that he really feels that the Panthers are close to turning it around. And I'd started last week's show with saying that it is a slow progression towards bankruptcy happens slowly, but then all of a sudden, maybe a turnaround happens slowly, but all of a sudden. And as we start to think and look at this list, CK, the fact that Bryce Young is even on page 1 of the list to me is exciting, or at least optimistic. And I don't trust any list or anything like this. But I mean, look, Bo Nix is ahead of Joe Burrow on this list.
Yeah. Well, listen, if it wasn't for Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix might have been the offensive rookie of the year. I mean, the dude was really good. He was really good coming out of Oregon. I don't know, man. There's some names on here that are just tough. It's really a toss up. Yeah, remember, JJ McCarthy is coming off of an ACL, and his last year of college, one of the main knocks on him is that they didn't see him throw the ball a ton.
Never. They're handoff team.
Yeah, they were running the football, and that offense up there in Michigan with Harbaugh, they just weren't having him throw the ball a lot. Now, he was really good in preseason last year, but I don't know, man. Some of these are rich. Drake May in his second year. Justin Fields really hasn't done a ton outside of being with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. To me, it's hard to justify some of the people above him, but I'm also realistic enough to say this is a big-time year for Bryce Young. Bryce Young has not proven himself to not be a bust yet. If you're outside of Panther Nation, sure, you believe in him, but this is a huge year for Bryce Young to prove that he really is that dude.
This list right here is a perfect example of why I hate the draft kind of speculation going in, as well as in some ways this part of the year when it comes to fantasy football, guys, is that this post, I don't even know what website it's made from. What is it? I can't even read it. Top Fantasy Football 100 from something, Top Fantasy Football. One of the things about these lists is that if you want to start a discussion and get like an internet rumble going, is you make a list.
Sure.
You make a list, right? And then the second thing about draft heads and fantasy heads is that they all got to prove that they're smarter than the universe. And really, right. I think that when you look at McCarthy, Fields, May, maybe even Bryce Young on this list, is you're poking at the idea of trying to say, I was right. This happened. You're trying to get a dark horse coming out of nowhere. And that's where I get so mad at the draft guys. It's like, oh, I got to prove that I'm going to show you how this third round guy is going to be great because
I will say though, that to me, there is a sentiment going around. Like it's not just this fantasy football site. A lot of people feel like the additions that were made, and specifically adding the next player that we're going to talk about, Tetairoa McMillan, that this is going to be the thing that can help take Bryce Young's game to a new level in the second year of Dave Canales' offense.
It's not a crazy idea, Cody, to think about either when you think about the explosiveness or the offensive nature that Dave Canales was able to create in Tampa Bay with some of the right pieces. Do you remember the excitement that we had going into last season? And it was stymied by a terrible, terrible beginning, 8 games. But there was that optimism of like, you saw what he did with Baker and those guys in Tampa Bay. So it's not far-fetched, and we are just waiting for the close to become the real.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the counterpart to that, and that is Tet McMillan, and we're going to talk about him some more. But the same website had him listed at number 11, higher than A.J. Brown, higher than Brian Thomas Jr., higher than Emeka Egbuka, only behind Drake London, who is funny that that's kind of who they compare Tet to, is Drake London, but behind him, only narrowly behind Puka Nacua. This is also where we're going to sort of start to get into some other very famous people's impression of Tet. But, similarly, what do we think about Tet being a top fantasy receiver this year? And also it kind of leads into the conversation, boys, of what are reasonable expectations for Tet McMillan being the 8th overall pick in 2025. What should Panther fans reasonably be expecting from this guy in Dave Canales' offense?
One thing that I wanted to mention or talk about in our past draft discussions, maybe even last week, that I didn't think about at the time, as we talked about the drop off from top receivers to second tier receivers. One thing I never heard when it came to even the top 3 wide receivers was how technical of route runners they were. I just never heard those words when it came to, do you remember when we drafted DJ Moore and Calvin Ridley went to Atlanta? It was 1 and 2. And then they were like, it's the difference between this is a guy who's ready right now and a guy who can what they can be.
And do some wild shit like that, like catch a ball behind his back. It's insane.
I understand that, but did you hear, Cody, because you are more ear to the ground on the draft talk, the celebration of even Tet or even any of these wide receivers being their polished route running at this part of the career? I just didn't hear that talk.
No, there was, and it was some of the guys that went later in the round. Matthew Golden, who went to the Packers, was a really precise route runner, and not to bury the lead, but we're going to talk about Steve Smith here in a second and his thoughts about Tet McMillan. But that was one of the criticisms, is that even though he's a bigger, stronger guy, that precise technical routes aren't necessarily his thing. But to me, he has this weird sort of wobble to him that sort of causes him to be very shifty and to sort of get skinny at the right moments, and it's strong too. So again, you're talking about a different style of wide receiver than has been prioritized in recent years. You normally don't see a lot of teams really valuing the bigger jump ball wide receiver, since the days of a Dez Bryant or a Megatron. But they feel like in this offense that this is the perfect type of wide receiver for Dave Canales to actually get the most out of his offensive vision. So it took me a while, but it took me a while to come around, but I'm definitely starting to see this vision.
CK, as we play this clip right here, is there anything? This has to be called football porn, right? I mean, this is the one thing that makes you add money to the video site and give the girl a tip.
Well, yeah, but the thing that I love somebody's take, I can't remember who it was, but they put it on Twitter or on X rather, and they said if
this happens in a game.
If this happens in a game in the NFL, be prepared. Panthers fans will be insufferable.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
this type of catch right here would eclipse the Odell Beckham Jr. catch. That became iconic.
Absolutely.
I almost you wonder this is. I kind of want him to do it just to do it, but then if you drop it, though, are we gonna all go nuts and be like,
hey man, dude, fucking no risk it, no biscuit. I would rather have the dude with the capability to do that and the willingness to try to pull it off in an NFL game than a dude who just can't do no type of shit like that at all.
It's insane. It's insane right here.
Let's get to this. What are some reasons? And again, this is all way too early. We're going to change our opinions a million times before the start of the season. But what are some reasonable expectations in year one for Tet? So, I'll go first. I'll give you an example. I think 7-7, 7 touchdowns, 700 plus yards. I think that's a good number for him. That's not overestimating his capabilities day one, right. But I do think that it also treats him with the respect of, if you're able to get 7 touchdowns and over 700 yards, that is a major part of our offense year one. So to me, those are reasonable numbers. Tony, CK, what say you? And let me see it in the chat, man. C3 Legion out strong tonight in the YouTube channel. Put up your numbers for what are reasonable numbers for Tet McMillan's first year. While I add some more calls here.
CK, get in there.
Man, it's so hard for me to predict because right now we have a good
Reasonable,
problem,
though.
right?
You got to think reasonable is like a first round pick, top 10. It's not that. It's like just what would be the number below where you would be disappointed in a sense, I think, is what reasonable can becomes.
I mean, anything under 500 is going to be a disappointing season in my mind for a top eight, right?
Yeah. And that's being very nice.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's disappointing. Now, what would make me happy with him being the picked so highly in the draft would probably have to be we'd have to eclipse Kelvin Benjamin's rookie year, right?
What was that? Maybe
it was over 1,000. It was basically
about
just
1038, just over 1,000
like that.
barely.
You know,
do you want to see more touchdowns? Would you be more? Is it which number is not more important, but is to the reasonableness? Is it yards or touchdowns?
Well, remember that DJ Moore had consecutive years in a row where he was 1,000-yard receiver and only went for around 4 touchdowns. Right. So I kind of think we would like to see the reverse of that, right? Seeing as how he's a bigger guy, he's supposed to be that red zone threat that you can just throw the jump ball up to. So I would prefer to see the inverse of that. I would like to see more touchdowns as opposed to, a yard monster, because we're going to have a lot of mouths to feed, boys. Xavier Legette, who we're getting ready to talk about here in the show, the second year of Jalen Coker, Adam Thielen. Now you add Hunter Renfrow, Jimmy Horn in the draft. All of a sudden, there are multiple different ways that the coaches can spread out this offense with different players. So, yeah, this is very interesting to me. You see a lot of 900 yards, 6 touchdowns from Scott. Tyler Jones is 8 and 8. Panther Pickles is 700 yards, 9 touchdowns. These are skills. There's Nalo, 900 yards, 7 touchdowns, man. Only because London, I believe, got 866. That's fair, man. Yeah, a lot of different ways that you can look at this. Go ahead, Tony.
I think that I like this 6 and 6, 7 and 7, 8 and 8 type talk, right? Is you want to see a ratio of yards to touchdowns. Personally, I'm okay with more yards than touchdowns, right? So for me, I think I'm looking at 700 yards, 6 touchdowns being kind of my number. Is that Legette had probably about, and I'll have to pull him up, but I know he had 4 touchdowns in his first freaking 10 games, it felt like. Yeah. So what is reasonable versus what is ideal and optimistic and disappointing are very fine and close lines, right? And so if he pulls out 750 yards and 5 touchdowns and the Panthers are winning, I mean, I think we're ecstatic. I think that if you get 1,000-yard receiver, and even if he had 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, going high as 7, 8, you're going, this guy is about to be a monster right here. I just really believe when it comes to what the Panthers invested in him at that point, to me, anything under 700 yards is going to be slightly underwhelming. I don't even believe that it's all touchdowns unless the Panthers offense is not scoring at all. And then you're like, well, damn, he's getting you down there and we're not doing the thing. I'd like to see, I think 7 and 7 is a fantastic number. I'm okay with, I would be bouncing off the walls if he's a 900-yard receiver in his first year and he had 6 touchdowns.
Listen, I'd be excited about it too, but the only reason I want the Kelvin Benjamin numbers is, to be honest with you, to get rid of the stigma of him being the rookie that was able to hit 1,000 yards, and we haven't been able to have one since. So that's my priority right now. If Tet being picked, with Bryce Young being a point guard, if you will, to distribute the ball, if he's not able to trust Tet to go up and get the ball, I don't know what this pick was for. Right. And so that's where I'm hoping that we see more of a Kelvin Benjamin numbers, not career. I want to make that clear. These are two very different types of athletes. But I want to see those Kelvin Benjamin numbers.
If you're talking about 700 yards over 17 games, that's only 41 yards a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make it seem like underwhelming?
Yes. But to us, we haven't seen anything like that. I guess maybe Adam Thielen. You know what? I'm going to say that maybe we should just go 1,000 yards, and I'm going 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns is what I want to see out of this dude.
I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable of a request, to be honest with you. I think that, I think 1,000 is kind of I don't know. It's kind of like that go-to for a wide receiver, right? Like 1,000 yards. Like that's what people want to see when they're trying to, when you talk about Mike Evans, right? They grade him based on how many 1,000-yard receiving how many 1,000-yard receiving seasons he's had. So I think that's kind of my personal, trying to think of the right word, my personal benchmark for somebody who's a wide receiver, to be a good wide receiver, if you will.
Well, I think the other thing is that so many of our old school benchmarks, 1,000-yard rusher, right, 1,000-yard receiver, are based off of a 16-game season. So 1,000 yards in a 16-game season is 62 and a half, 63 a game. You add one more. I mean, we need people to be healthy. I'm talking 59. I mean, really, I don't think 800 yards. But the problem is that the Panthers have had so many problems getting a rookie or any receiver having over 800 yards when the offense has been healthy, other than just feeding it to Adam Thielen. I want to see a healthy offense. So if he goes 750 yards, 6 touchdowns, and the offense is moving and shaking and putting up points, I'd much rather than have that than 1,000-yard receiving season from him and the Panthers offense be one-dimensional or the meh, right? So I guess it depends on what's happening with the other players. But look, I think 700 is the minimum, bro.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's why I said that number. To me, 700 yards, 7 touchdowns. If you're around that area, to me, I think that's a good number because it means that he's productive in the offense, and also it expects for some growing pains too. The idea that he's going to come directly in here and just shut everything down. I don't know how reasonable. I don't know how necessarily reasonable those expectations are.
You're listening.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We're here every Tuesday night. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. Do us a favor. Take right now, this time, to hit the share button. You on Facebook? Hit share on Facebook. You here on Twitter, on X, repost it. Hey, and if you're on X, post it on Facebook. I don't care. Help us out in the doldrums. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's do one more topic, Cody, and hit some calls.
Boy, oh boy. So we talked about this a little bit on the Friday show, right? But keeping with the Tet McMillan train, it seems like one of the most beloved members of the Carolina Panthers has now become almost what's the word I'm looking for here? He's like public enemy number one nowadays because on one hand, our very own Steve Smith Sr.
An anti-hero?
Yeah, an anti-hero maybe. All of a sudden he's like the number one enemy of certain Panther fans who say that Steve Smith is hating on Tetairoa McMillan. Now, I found the elongated clip on his podcast, and I will play that later because he mentioned stuff from talking to GMs to even people in the Panthers front office who were not sold on the pick of Tetairoa McMillan. But this is Steve Smith and his assessments on let me put this down and put this up. His assessments on the Panthers drafting Tet McMillan at number 8 overall and what he thinks we should have done instead.
It threw me off because now you got some good picks later in the round, some what they call value picks. But when you're looking at this defense who gave up a ton of points, you don't really want to add value picks. You want to add game changers.
Yeah. And you had an opportunity to do that.
Correct. And is T-Mac a game changer? Here's my answer to that. Like I stated, at the college level, he changed the game. He did a great job. And I've never met the young man personally, so I have no ill will towards him. I don't dislike him, and I don't like him. Meaning, I haven't met him to give you a fair assessment. All I can do is look at his film and evaluate him as his film. I don't know him personally. Obviously, he's going to be here in Charlotte, so I will get to know him if we choose to have that relationship. If we don't, I'm going through some stuff. Hey, yeah, things happen, right? You know what I'm saying?
Detours occur.
Yeah. But I thought what was interesting is when I break down that receiver room, you have Adam Thielen, possession receiver. Jalen Coker, possession receiver. I guess David Moore's a speed guy.
Okay.
Maybe he's
he's not.
He's a speed guy.
Yeah. It's more of that than possession receiver. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Xavier Legette.
Mm-hmm.
What would you consider him?
Work in progress.
Thank you. So work in progress means technically right now possession because you're really not sure what you're going to get out of him. Mm-hmm. Is that fair?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. And then they just got my dog. And I call him my dog because I love him, man. Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow ain't outbeating paint drying, okay? That Hunter is not, that ain't who he is. That's not what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And he'll tell you that. You go and get in the 6th round with the 208th overall pick, Jimmy Horn, which is speed. But prior to 208th in the 6th round, you drafted what you already had in the room. And I was shocked when you have a Matthew Golden with speed. I mean, you had Higgins who went later. So it was just a lot of things.
So that's what Steve Smith had to say. And this is what really kind of pissed off a lot of Panther fans. And now has a bunch of people saying that Steve Smith is a hater. Steve Smith does not see the value in what the Panthers did. He thinks that we should have gone defense. I sort of gave my perspective on this on Friday, but I'll be brief with it. I can't be too critical about Steve Smith right here. I say this as someone who has come around to what Tet could possibly be in this offense, right? But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like what Steve Smith just said didn't sound like what I was saying about Tet before we drafted him. Because it kind of was. But how I said I've adjusted my opinion is I feel like I underestimated just how important this style of wide receiver is to what Dave Canales wants to do. He is going to feast, like we talked about last Tuesday, Tony, those end routes and dig routes and post routes, 20 to 15 yards down the field or across the middle of the field. That is where Bryce Young is dangerous. In college, they said that, other short quarterbacks They don't target the middle of the field very well, but Bryce Young does. And this is the type of area where I think T-Mac is going to live in. So in some ways, he's tailor-made for a quarterback like Bryce Young. So I'm surprised by Steve here. I don't 100% agree with him, but I don't believe that he's just being a hater for haters' sake. There were a bunch of people in NFL draft circles that I know also felt this way about Ted. So I hope that Steve is wrong. I hope that my initial assumption was wrong. Boys, what do you make of Steve Smith and his opinions?
CK, you go first.
Man, it's hard to have a opinion that remains valid like with this situation. Steve Smith is like, I don't know, it's like you want to believe everything he's got to say, but at the same time you're like, does he really know? You know, nobody really understands what is real with any of this stuff. He's been wrong on multiple guys like this in the past. So I don't know. I hesitate to give him that type of I don't know what the word here would be, but I just don't want to be able to. I don't think that it's. I don't know. I don't think that it's something that I'm going to take him at his word just based on how he reacted with who was it that was a Bronco that
Jerry
Jeudy, like that whole thing, and then his love for Mingo. Listen, I mean, he's a wide receiver, but he also came out with a chip on his shoulder, and I don't know that I trust his evaluation of wide receivers up to this point, just based on what we've seen so far. Just with everything but pretty much any wide receiver he has come out and endorsed has not really been the guy for anybody up to this point.
Well, he endorsed Hunter Renfrow. He endorsed Puka Nacua.
Whoa. You're talking about endorsing a guy that has already been an established player who also reminds himself of a little dude fighting against a man. So let's not act like that.
He also said Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp.
Did he? Well, okay, again, Cooper Kupp, a damn Triple Crown winner. Was he endorsing this?
Yes,
guy?
This was before the draft. Steve Smith was high on
Okay.
him.
But, you know, we can go and give a bunch of I know what CK is talking about. He's talked about a bunch of wide receivers that have been bums, right? I think that Steve Smith, being a wide receiver, being a guy that was undersized, overlooked, chip on his shoulder type player, he brings subconsciously that to his evaluation, right? And so it's like, oh, well, this guy's 6'3" or 6'5". He does this. He does we all have these psychological deficiencies. And when I say deficiency, I don't mean like we got a injury thing or something like that. Is that you bring a bias, a subconscious. You don't even know that you're doing it, right? I'm surprised a little bit because I think this is, I don't like, how about this? I just disagree with him. That's what I disagree. I disagree with him because I don't think that this is a duplication of talent. I don't think that saying XL, that you already have these players in the room are there. I think what you have is you drafted an NFL wide receiver, tall, long, great hands, can move, has wiggle, right? And I don't like this idea of, oh, well, we got one big body receiver, so we now lead one speedster. The idea, who was the guy that he cited at the end that we picked in the 6th round? It's like, oh, well, we got a speed receiver, and now we've got a possession receiver. Yeah, it's too Maddenish to me. And what I think is this, is you got somebody that can move, bro. He runs a 4.46. This dude ain't slow. You ain't drafting Devin Funches, right? You are drafting a guy who has the speed, the size, to do a lot of different things in this league. I also have a real problem with him wearing the King Hippo shirt, which I love Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and I'll forever call it Mike Tyson's Punch Out. And Steve, you look like you could be, what was the show that Bill Cosby did the characters for?
Fat Albert?
He looks like he could have been a Fat Albert character here. Steve, I know. You know what? I'm scared of you. I'm terrified. I've always said this, is that if there's a person, we have all these fun games that we play on the show. If you could get in a fight with somebody who would have your back, I'm like, I want Derek Brown type player. I want this. If I want somebody that's going to come and bail me out of jail, if I want a roommate, who do you want to live with? Is not Steve Smith, because I'm scared. The mug's gonna be like, oh, you drank my orange juice. I would have a deadbolt in my bedroom the other way. But Steve, you're wearing the boggin with the King Hippo shirt, and you don't look like you can run the routes no more. You look
I did see a video clip of him a year or two ago, and he was looking pretty crisp as a runner, but listen, I want to be real about this. I feel that
King Hippo is in that shirt. And I'm not saying this out of anger or despair or anything like that. I don't know, guys.
So, well, I'll also say this. I believe that now he's starting to say shit that I think kind of pisses off the Panthers sometimes. Because remember, before we even went and got Baker Mayfield, he was one of the biggest adversaries of Baker. He was going on and talking shit about Baker.
Now he loves him.
Doing
that's what you do when you're an analyst. When you're making this, that's why I'm
also remember how he sort of passed the torch on to DJ Moore. He was like, the Panthers have never had a number one wide receiver until right now. And then that, ended up how it ended up. But it's like to have the endorsement of the best Panthers wide receiver ever is a big deal. And I feel like maybe he's sort of, denying that to Ted. I do want to play one more clip.
Hold on, before we go to that, I have one question though about instead of us just focusing on if it's like his past with like his track record with wide receivers, his potential, like I said, like bias that comes into it. What do you think about the argument that this is a duplication of talent too much? And that if the Panthers, is that a short-term argument? Is it a long-term argument? Is it a fair argument that Ted McMillan is a duplication too much of what they already have in the room?
CK, you want to go first?
I mean, I think, again, I agree. I don't think that having two of the same, let's be real about it. We have duplicates across the board, right? I would put Hunter Renfrow and Adam Thielen in the same category to a degree, right? Xavier Legette and Ted in the same category. You're going to put, maybe Jimmy Horn, and don't we have another like super fast guy?
Not really. They said David Moore, but none of us really think so.
CK, what if you went to a Vikings team that has Justin Jefferson and then drafted what's his name?
Jackson Smith and Jigba. Yeah, that's why people think so highly of McCarthy this year, all the weapons he has.
But do you go, that's a duplication of talent?
No,
guys that can do everything?
No, I think that it's fair to put all of these. Listen, it's never a bad idea to have a lot of good football players on your team. Now, the only thing I would give, here's the difference I would have in Steve's opinion and how I feel about it. If he had said that I was surprised because Tet deserved to go at number 8. But I don't think the Panthers needed to pick him at 8. We needed other things at that point in time. And if that was just as simple as that, then it would be that's a different story, right? He can still offer his endorsement of him as a player while also acknowledging that maybe the Panthers shouldn't have gone wide receiver and maybe focus more on the defense. But here he's not really giving any grace to Tet on that. And I think that is his biggest failure in my mind.
NIGXL says more that think about it. Steve Smith isn't wrong. You drafted what you have in the room.
No.
Again, when we're talking about the duplication of talent, you already have that. But did you catch the one line he said, I haven't met him? I haven't met him. Where he said, it was almost like all I can do is go off. Like if he would have met him and got to know him, he might have liked him more.
See, and that's in and of itself almost makes me think that he's just making this about something, maybe his own pride, right? Like he's met all these other guys, and they're good guys, and right. Now that's not saying that's what actually he's looking at here, but I don't think that looks good for him. But I also think Anthony had a point earlier, right? Xavier Legette probably needs some pressure taken off of him. Having a guy who is ready to be a guy come into the team, I think it gives Legette time to actually progress. And when I tell you, I am extremely excited to see what he is capable of doing. I just have a gut feeling that Xavier Legette is going to surprise the hell out of all of us.
I agree. And having a guy beside him to put him on a number 2.
We're getting ready to talk about him too.
Wonders.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I wanted to highlight this comment from ERA Demex. He said the Panthers were inquiring about a bunch of top-level wide receivers in free agency and weren't able to get one. So they got one who, in their eyes, has the most potential to be an instant impact player. Now, listen, man, I say that I had the same opinion before the draft because I kind of did. I felt like that both Xavier Legette and Tet represent a bigger body jump ball receiver, although I do think that Xavier ran some good routes last year, and he did do a decent job separating, especially down the stretch. And if some of those drops would have turned into catches, I think that we would have been having an entirely different conversation surrounding XL. But I wanted to go back to this real quick before we move on. Because like when I said that the Panthers, in my opinion, the Panthers are probably annoyed with him, it's for stuff like this. And this is a clip that didn't go around Panthers Twitter, but I did go back to the original video and I found him saying this. And I want to get everyone's opinion on this too. This is him talking about the Panthers' needs, what they needed, and also some of the opinions of the people in our own front office and what they were thinking and what other GMs and scouts thought about Tet. It lasts about 1 minute and 30 seconds.
And so they used 8 of them in this order of needing help. Edge rusher was number 1. 100%. Safety was number 2. Corner number 3. Wide receiver number 4. D tackle. That was the rank of needs.
Okay.
I understand getting it because it's a need. What I was shocked at was there were a little bit more impactful players on defense that I thought you needed to help calm the offensive storm that is mounted on Bryce Young and Coach Canales on the Carolina Panthers.
Playing behind all the time.
And playing behind, you know, what I thought and what some coaches.
This is the part where I think it's kind of wild.
In that draft room thought. It was like, yo, this is not what we talked about a few hours before the draft. And I talked to several GMs and several coaches, bro, the morning of the draft was calling me, hey, man, what do you think about this guy? Hey, I like this guy, but what about this guy? What do you think about this guy? Hey, call me if you need anything. So I was asking questions, and a lot of teams, and you can see by
he doesn't say the Panthers, though.
Well, he did say in that draft room.
No, but he did not say he talked to a lot of coaches and he said I talked to a lot of coaches and teams.
But remember the words that he said that was he alluded to that that there were some scouts that were like, whoa, this wasn't what the plan was even a few hours before the draft. Like there were people in the room that were confused by like an all of a sudden switch to Tetairoa McMillan. And if you remember last week, we played the clip of Dan Morgan talking to Thomas Davis. And according to Dan Morgan at that point, they had known for a while that Tet was going to be their guy. However, there were also clips of Jalen Walker, who was highly rumored to be the pick for the Panthers. He was really disappointed when the Panthers didn't pick him because he was all but assured that this is where he was going to be going. So maybe there's some truth to that, though. However, if you do have that information, I don't know what good it does now to be out with that. Like if you really
did, it does. It helps your podcast. It helps your he's an analyst.
Yeah, but I mean, like, does it?
That's what he is. Is that and don't fault him for that. That's what you're supposed to.
I mean, I'm not.
He doesn't work for the team. He's supposed to be like he's doing his podcast. He's supposed to be using his insider information. But I think that what he fell into was the continued trap of draft analysis. That is need, desire, need. Like, how do we build a Madden team? And to be honest, that's where GMs go so wrong in this. And the idea that you're going to draft this guy. Yes. I mean, the Panthers defense effing sucked.
Right.
Yes. Does that all the needs on that side rank out everything? But does that mean that's the way the draft board truly falls? And I disagree with him on this, is that an impactful player right out the gate is not at some of these harder positions. What if you went out and drafted an offensive tackle? What if you went and drafted a defensive tackle? You're going to go and draft a defensive tackle. It makes your team better in the long run. But it's not like all of a sudden your defense just becomes great overnight. The one thing that drafting this wide receiver does is it is an impact player quick and not solves things, but you will see things faster at those position groups than you will see if you draft a guy who is like Jalen Walker, who people are high on. Now, if this guy comes out and gets 12 sacks and is a dominant player, 10 sacks, 8 sacks, whatever, is a dominant player, then I'll eat my effing words. But I think that's a tough transition for these. Like, oh, we need a defensive end. You need defense. Defense. They're going to come in there. They're going to make a difference. No, they're fucking rookies in the NFL, dude. And that transition is tough. I think it's too, if anything, maybe, and I got to be careful because if Steve comes on this podcast, I'd love to have you on, Steve. I would love you. I'd celebrate you. I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want you to be my roommate. I'll tell him that to his face. But at the same time, I do respect him. Like, I mean, I'm just a dude over here sitting here talking on a laptop right now. So it's like not me talking shit. But I think that we tend to get we fall into like what like a feedback loop of being super analysts. And to me, if I was going to make a criticism to here, is it's like, yeah, you got into analyst rather than realist. And I would say, Steve, go back to putting the cleats on and thinking about what really makes a difference on the field faster, sooner, and in the long run.
How about this, Tony? You know how before every season I say it's prove it season. Like if let Ted go out and show Steve, hey, bro, you were a Panther great, but you didn't fucking look too hard at your boy, or maybe there's something inside me that you just did not see. And
draft a defensive end who gets 3 sacks. Dude, it's
also this
going to be a Hall of Famer after his rookie year going into the Super Bowl.
But it's also like what T. Thompson says too. We're not going to be able to make a true assessment on how right or wrong Steve is because Jalen Walker went to our division rival Atlanta Falcons. So if this dude does turn out to be the next version of Micah Parsons, when you did need so much defense,
then we're all eating our words.
then everyone's going to be groveling at Steve's feet, apologizing when he was right the whole time. And also, the reason why I don't want to be too down on Steve for that is because there's a lot of Panther fans that feel like Steve does, that were upset that when you had a historically bad defense, that the first pick that you make is prioritizing offense. To a lot of fans, it seemed very counterintuitive. And from a play set and a skill set perspective, there are a lot of similarities, although some differences, but there are some similarities in the style of play between T-Mac and XL. So
Dave
again, only time will tell.
Dave Gettleman said you don't want to shop hungry.
Yeah.
Right. And he unfortunately didn't. He always shopped hungry after he said that. Cody Lack, can we take some calls? The number is 252-228-5098. You can be a part of the show. We love this. The C3 Legion be running the spaces. They be generating the excitement when we ain't on this live broadcast. Get in the show. Tell us what you think. Tell us about Steve Smith. Tell us about the Tet Offensive. Let's go into these cat calls. Cody.
The number is 252-228-5098. Let your voice be heard on the longest running Panthers podcast on the internet. Boys, let's roll.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
C3 Panther Nation, what is up, boys? Is your boy Preston from Newton. Man, I've completely checked out over this off season. Been watching a lot of WWE, but I gotta say, and really, it does my heart really good to see, because Dan motherfucking Morgan is the undisputed champion of the offseason. I mean, this guy really went out and got what he thought was really, good culture fits, good scheme fits. I mean, he's done what a GM is supposed to do. This isn't a Scott Fitter, laden team. This isn't, what was my boy's name? Dave Gettleman?
Dave Gettleman.
Fuck that guy. But it wasn't any of that other bullshit. He did go out and get some hog mollies, but I believe he went and got what he really feels is the best fit for what this team wants to do, what Dave Canales wants to do, hopefully our defensive coordinator has a hell of a season because he's got the pieces. His GM has done his job. So, I know I've checked out for the past couple of months or whatever, but
you're good, brother.
I call and say that, man, I feel really, really good about this season coming up. I told myself I wasn't going to make a official prediction, unofficial prediction as far as win-loss total as far as the season. It's way too early. But to be honest with you, it's feeling like about 8 to 9 wins to me. I don't know. Y'all can let me know what y'all think. But, and keep motherfucking pounding, boys.
Hey, keep pounding, boy.
Pounding.
Shout out to Preston, man. 8 to 9 wins. Look, I'm hoping for way more, but I always am, right? I do think that this was a really good draft by Dan Morgan if you judge it in its entirety. The amount of value that we got, CK, from Tet at wide receiver, 2 incredibly badass defensive ends or / outside linebackers. And that's another thing that we didn't really talk about with Steve Smith is that he called Nick Scorton and Prince of McMillan value picks. And listen, maybe, normally typically second and third round picks are typically just that, value picks. But Nick Scorton, the year before, had 10.5 sacks. I mean, and the dude was playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
So, and he was projected to be a top 10 pick the year before. Then Princely McMillan, he was a second-round pick. Or he was somebody who a lot of people thought would go in the second round and would come off the board a little earlier. So there's a lot of hope that these dudes are hungry. They're ready to come in here and kick ass. When you judge all of those picks in tandem, it makes the whole draft better to the point where even if you don't like T-Mac, or even if you don't like Trevor Etienne, or even if you don't like Cam Jackson, there is something in this draft class for every kind of Panther fan, and I think that's what makes it feel better for most Panther fans.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I felt after this was I think that we shored up many of the areas that we felt like we needed to improve in. Did it fix everything? Are there still potential holes that we need to worry about? Absolutely. And there, you never want to rely on unproven guys to be the reason your team's supposed to be better. And I fully get that mindset. But for what we were able to do with the picks that we did have, I think that, I loved, I was watching Pat McAfee when Dan Morgan was on there. And they were talking about having a first round draft. They basically were talking about doing a way too early prediction for the draft. And they had said that they had that the year before had Scorton as a top 10 pick in the draft had he gone out of college the year before. He just had a down year from productivity this past year, so it made it look like he didn't perform at the same level. And that just essentially gave us a really good player that late, meaning in the second round, which is a steal if I've ever seen one. So, in my mind, without being somebody who's a draft analyst, I feel like we've got two top 10 picks that, in one draft, which I think last time we saw that happen, it was CJ Stroud and Will Anderson. Is that right?
Yeah. CJ Stroud and Will Anderson back to back. Let's take another call.
Yo, it's motherfucking showtime. It's Lou from Fort Myers.
What up, Lou?
And, I know the
my
last
boy
calls I was a little emotional. I came here to apologize. What I was trying to say is the T-Mac pick isn't that bad if we didn't have the worst ranked defense. And I'm going to speak more clearly because I'm less emotional. And if T-Mac actually ends up being like the next Jamar Chase,
I may not have got your
or
first
the
one.
next
My bad,
Justin
Lou.
Jefferson or whatever, it's good that we have him on a rookie deal instead of going out and finding one of those guys in free agency. Because it's way much cheaper to get the guy, get him as a rookie, and then, or to go get a Garrett Wilson like we wanted this year, or T. Higgins that we wanted this year. You know what I mean? So that's what I was trying to say. But there should be no excuse for Bryce Christopher Young. Oh shit! My fucking Bluetooth. Yeah, but there should be no excuse for Bryce Christopher Young. He should have a great season. I know I call him noodle arm, but until I see a deep bomb, like, I'm not meaning that ball traveled 20 yards in the air and the receiver did the rest of the work. I want to see a deep bomb, a nice head tap, something to make me jump out my seat and scream, like, you know what I mean? Like, something nasty, bro. Like, I've yet to see that from Bryce Young. Like, I don't need an 80-yard bomb. That's not what I'm asking, but you know what I mean? But like a little 50-yard bomb would be nice, you know? But I honestly, Bryce progression it's been kind of nice. The Philly game, he was cooking. The Bucks game, the first Bucks game when we played them at home, he was cooking. The other, I don't know. But it seems like the whole NFC South has like boosted up. Besides the Saints, I don't think the Saints did anything in free agency to make them like, oh shit, New Orleans might, you know what I mean? They look like they're coming back and forth. you know. Same thing with, I want to say Atlanta. Their draft was okay, but they low-key kind of got fleeced. In my opinion, trading up for that first, they kind of got fleeced. Not as bad as the Jaguars, because it's Travis Hunter, but kind of got fleeced. But I just want y'all opinions on the whole NFC South as a whole, and just not the Panthers this time. Love y'all, Lou from Fort Myers. Keep fucking pounding.
Keep pounding, Lou. Shout out, Lou. He wants to know our opinion on the NFC South.
Let me address this to Stonewall. I'm sorry. He says, no Debbie Downer here, but lost a lot of my brother's soldiers in the Tet offensive. Let's at least give them some honor. My apologies that reigns on emotion and reality to people.
I didn't even catch it. I don't even know what that
is.
Yeah,
you know, I've thought about it as I've said it over and over. Is like I have thought about like what that means to people, and I'm sorry, and I'm ultimately there's nothing I'm gonna say that's gonna make it be better here.
It was a play on words.
I'm sure there's a lot of Vietnamese people that would be very upset about talking about America.
Is that what that is?
No, yeah, I mean, it was the Tet offensive was an offensive, like their attack on.
Okay.
Like not an anti-attack, but a counterattack in the Vietnam War. So yes,
you were trying to make a playoff words with Tet. You want
right? Is that because I in the fact that I thought for so long it was tech.
Oh,
like I remember. Do you remember when we got the draft? I was like, "Is it tech?" And then you guys said
Tetairoa.
But you know,
he prefers Nalo. He likes that, so I like that too, man. That's what Deez has been calling him.
Yeah, I want again. Thank you for that comment, and
he didn't mean no.
That's it.
No offense. What do we make of the NFC South this year? A lot of new faces on this team. Dude, I'll tell you what, man. Atlanta got two dudes literally from the Queen City. So, James Pierce, who a lot of people think that he was maybe misused a little bit in Tennessee's defense. I know Pickle does. And then Jalen Walker, from Salisbury, North Carolina. They're going to be in the division. I don't know, man. I think right now it's Tampa Bay's division, as it normally is until someone else proves otherwise. And there's just a lot of unknowns on the New Orleans Saints. I think Derek Carr is such a huge question mark for them. They drafted a quarterback in the second round, Tyler Shuck, who I'm going to be honest with you, man. The dude was hurt a bunch, but the dude is a big, strong, talented quarterback that can make some throws. So I don't know how that's going to vibe with Kellen Moore. I think that the Panthers have as good a chance as anyone to vie for the NFC South crown in 2025. We're going to have to see, like Lou was alluding to, we're going to have to see another step forward from Bryce Young. And now that we've invested so heavily in the offense, on the offensive line, we've invested in nothing but weapons for him. Lou is 100% correct. There are no more excuses. Bryce Young really needs to live up to that first overall pick this year. And if there's anyone who disagrees with that, that is not me being a hater. That is you being delusional. This is a big-time year for Bryce, and that's also part of the reason why I've come around on Tet at number 8 overall, because this is an investment in Bryce and the future of your team offensively. So, yeah. What do y'all make of the NFC South?
Man, it's so hard to say what to expect, because we've thought that that Tampa was bound and determined to fall off, but it never happened. You know what I mean? It was like it's just continued ever since the Tom Brady era with getting the pieces like Tom Brady and all of that. So I'm not ready to write off the Bucs yet, because I just don't think that they've lost enough pieces to make it a legitimate concern. Now, I don't know that I'm worried very much about it. The Saints. Honestly, I can tell you with pretty large amount of confidence that the Saints don't worry me right now. But I will say Penix looked good in that game against us there at the end of the season. So if he finds a way to be the guy, I think we might be in some trouble because that dude had a calmness about him that I just didn't like to see coming from an Atlanta quarterback.
If you want to be the guy, you got to beat the guy.
Yeah.
And right now, Tampa is the guy, and the Panthers just got to beat the guy. So, yeah, I mean, is there a chance that the Panthers can do what they got to do? And look, how many times I'm so saddened and sickened of like, oh, weak division, this and that. You want to be the dude, you got to beat the dude. And right now, for anybody to say that the Panthers are the dude is silly.
Yeah.
It's fucking silly. And yes, I mean, and like true, are there weaknesses? Like, I mean, of course, the Saints, blah, blah, blah. Of course, the Falcons, we fucking hate them. And they had less sacks than us last year. They double dipped in the first round, all of this. The Panthers got to earn it if they want to deserve it. There's no reason for, in my opinion, to say this is that we are anything but a hungry team trying to make our name in the division. But we got to knock off all of those teams, not just the Saints, not just the Falcons, and not just the Bucs, who are the toast of that division under Baker. We got to turn Baker into a bottom, and until then, it ain't happening. I mean, like, so yes, I mean, look, as we're excited as a Panthers podcast, we want to be like that and this and that. But look, they earned it, they deserved it. It's time for us to knock them off the mountain. King of the hill time. Push that motherfucker off the top. And until we do, we ain't on the top.
And by the way, does anybody want to be viewed as the favorite? Like, I want to be slept on. All the best Panthers teams ever were underdogs. In that 2003 season, nobody was predicting the Panthers before that season. In 2015, nobody was predicting the Panthers before that season. All of our best runs have come when we were underdogs. So I love that underdog energy, man. And I think that the Panthers need that right now. We need that from all of our draft picks. You know, we need to go out there like we have something to prove. Like Bryce is trying to prove that he is the best quarterback in the NFC South. That's what we're pulling for.
Big time update. The Carolina Hurricanes pulled back from down 1-0, win 2-1 in overtime to take a 1-game advantage over the Washington Capitals. Storm surge. Let's go.
Nice. Let's take 2 more calls and then we'll get back into the show.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? It's G. Cavassier. Yeah, I know y'all miss me. It's been a while. Hey, man, that
what
draft
up, G?
That draft was amazing. There's no complaints on any other picks. And, you know, when Cody, that Friday free fall was a damn good show. I'm telling you, the
Thank
pick
you,
that
brother.
I like
Thank
that
you,
a lot
man.
of people are not really catching on to is that dude from Ohio State, Ransom. That damn dude can hit for real. That gives me, you know,
Yes, he
Mike
can.
Benner and we had Roman Harper days. Man, them motherfuckers can hit, man. And the only thing, man, you know, Cody, that one dude said that, you know, the play action will kill him if he's not trained correctly. And I like him playing safety. My only problem with that pick is, and it hurts to say this shit, does he know how to use him? Because you remember what happened to Jeremy Chin. He did not know how to use Jeremy Chin. And Jeremy Chin left and, you know, went to D.C. or whatever. And now I think he's in Vegas now, I think. But will Double E know how to use this damn dude, man? And on top of that, you know, with the two for the second round and third round, we got Nick and we got, Princely, whatever. There's some damn good pass rushers. But I also heard that good old Double E doesn't like playing rookies. So something's going to have to give, man. Something's going to have to happen this season. Me personally, I think defense-wise, we're gonna be a damn problem, man. Like, for real. Offensive-wise, I think we're going to be straight. I really do. Because towards the half end of last season, Bryce played his damn ass off, man. That benching really helped him out, man. So give him the pieces he has now, and we got that damn boy from damn Clemson. If he's healthy, yeah, we gonna show them boys what we do down here, like, for real, man. I do not see Tampa claiming the NFC South this year. I don't. Give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, man. I'll be really quick. I think that a lot of the defensive players that we selected are what I call Ejiro Evero proof, and that you can put them in a lot of different formations, a lot of different stances. You can envision them in multiple different defenses. So Nick Scowerton, for example, is somebody that can absolutely rush standing up from the outside linebacker position. He can also put his hand in the dirt and get after you in a 4-3 defensive end position. I say the same thing about Lathan Ransom. To me, let's be real. If Ejiro Evero has a terrible season as coordinator or a really, really good season as defensive coordinator, he's probably not long for the Carolina Panthers. So I do think that there was some deliberate decisions made to draft some defensive players that aren't so entirely scheme dependent. So I'm not really too much worried about Ejiro Evero. And I know a lot of people are upset with the guy for how bad the defense was last year, but we also didn't have a ton of talent. However, it is a legitimate criticism.
And a ton of injuries.
Yeah,
and a ton of injuries.
All of that, man. But there is some
out the gate, big time injury.
Yeah.
For a bad defense, you had a bad defense with big injuries.
Yeah, and also there is a lot of truth to he didn't know how to play Jeremy Chin. I don't think that we got the best out of Jeremy Chin, the football player, when he was here in Carolina, outside of that rookie season, where he probably should have won Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. But I don't know. We're going to have to see. Just like there's no excuses for Bryce Young, I don't feel like there's any for Ejiro Evero, especially if we do end up trading for a player that we're going to talk about here later. All right, go ahead.
I will not get excited about this defense for a long time. The only way is up, I would think. But I also said that for the Panthers going into last season, and then we benched our starting quarterback, and I almost wanted to quit. I was in the worst part of my life, personally. Like, I was like, I wish people could. I don't say I wish, but like the first 10 weeks of last season were like the Panthers season coincided with the worst 10 weeks of my fucking life.
Yeah.
It's like
bad on bad.
It was. So, I'm hesitant. Do you remember or at least not when I said it's only up from here when we fired Matt Rule and hired Frank Reich?
Boy, were we wrong, huh?
Yeah, it was like, so, I'm ready to say this is that it's hard for the defense to get worse than the worst defense in the history of the NFL. But these guys got to go out there and they got to get shit done. And I don't put a lot in rookies. I really don't, man. Like, I want rookies. Like, if you show out as a rookie, I think that's a good round, like a comeback to what we were talking about with Tet, is that because he's a first rounder, I have far higher expectations on him than anybody. But at the same time, these are fucking rookies. I think the Panthers, if the Panthers defense doesn't improve, we're going to be up here bitching. I'm going to be up here going nuts. I'm going to be going crazy for a long time. I'm going to long the days of when we were bashing mugs up in the head and we were playing 15 to 12 games or whatever it is. The Panthers defense, I think it, you know what? I don't think it better improve. It better improve. If it doesn't,
right,
then we got some real problems.
That's for damn sure. CK, you want to go in?
Man, I think so when we were, I guess, in training camp, Tony was obviously going through a crazy amount of stuff. And we were all going into last year with, I feel like, a tremendous amount of hope, given the moves that we had. We had Deontay Johnson and all this. It just felt like a different offseason. And we somehow always do that to ourselves. Yeah, my sentiment is the exact same as Tony says. Is if it doesn't get better, I'm going to be really disappointed, you know?
Yeah, hard to not be. Like I said, there's no more excuses for anyone on this team, both player or coach. One more call, and then we will jump back into the meat of the show.
Yo, it's C3 JJ calling in. It's been a while.
What up, JJ?
But I wanted to give my thoughts and opinion real quick on the draft and really the offseason the Panthers have had. And really just in general about the direction it looks like they're going and how my
breaking up, JJ.
Was rumored that you can be stepping back and letting the football guys do the football decisions more often last year whenever he hired Dan Morgan. It looks to me like it's starting to all come together the right way, man. And Dan Morgan, I mean, like, we saw that he hired Dave Canales, and last year it showed they had an idea immediately of what they wanted to do. And they went out, they started signing guys to help Bryce Young. They had an idea that was what they were going to do. They were going to fix the team around Bryce Young so they could get the best out of him. And they've been able to accomplish that so far. It feels like now the Panthers front office has an idea and they're starting to build an identity for this team. And it feels like, you know, in the draft, we have so many holes on this team. It's kind of hard to fill out our needs. But, I mean, it felt like we fit a lot of our needs that we needed outside of maybe another corner, maybe a few linebackers. But like I said, there's so many holes for us to fill. I mean, but I do want to speak specifically on one pick. I'm not going to go in depth on all of them. But the McMillan pick, I know a lot of people like it the most because it's a wide receiver.
I was doing good.
All right, let's go to the next call.
I did get the bulk of what you were saying. It is JJ again. We'll come back to JJ after the other side of some of this stuff I want to get into because he's kind of talking about it already. We started talking about this a little bit earlier, and we haven't really hit on this a lot. But Xavier Legette, man, he's been making the rounds on the internet. So he was at the Kentucky Derby, and he did a bunch of stuff with the NFL Network. Met Guy Fieri. He's also had some pretty different styles of training this year that has fans questioning whether or not he really is training his hands and getting better at actually being a receiver. But there are NFL analysts who are predicting Xavier Legette to be a breakout player in 2025. NFL analyst Mark Ross recently named his top second-year breakout candidates, and Legette was one of them. He writes, Legette had a slow start to his NFL career, catching 49 passes for 497 yards and 4 touchdowns last season. Some of the struggles can be tied to his own growing pains. He had 8 drops on 81 targets, according to Pro Football Focus, but he also had to navigate the quarterback shuffle between Bryce Young and Andy Dalton early in Dave Canales' first season leading the Panthers. Canales recently said he believes Carolina has a DK Metcalf-like talent in Legette, who had foot surgery this offseason, but was cleared to resume work in early April. And that having a full offseason alongside Young, who took significant step forwards in 2024, could lead to a breakout season in 2025. I anticipate it will also help that Carolina invested another first-round pick in wide receiver, Arizona's Tetairoa McMillan, the complement to Legette in the pass game. So, CK, you sort of started on this earlier. We're sort of jumping on to what do we expect from Xavier Legette in year 3? I think it's also relevant to mention that you have a Jalen Coker who came out of nowhere last year, who there is a large contingent of the Panther fan base who thinks that Coker is already a better wide receiver than Xavier Legette. So, boys, how do we feel about this? And before we do, shout out to Stonewall for the $9.99 love bomb. Says the offense scored 105 more points and the defense can only improve. Plus, they've won 3 more games. Tony, my brother, you made it through that tough time and things will improve. Shout out to Stonewall, man.
I think this is the Jalen Coker stuff. While I'm excited, like I'm optimistic. I feel like we get fanish on shit so quick, so fast. Yeah, it's all breakout, one big ass play from him, this and that. And we're like, he's the dude, and it's fine. I think this is too knee jerkish. I think it's too quick. I think it's just too much of a overreaction to stuff.
Sure.
I want Jalen Coker to be a great player. I'm excited about him as a prospect, coming as a late round pick and doing some things. But to count depends in this, it's so armchair quarterbackish to me.
CK?
Yeah, I listen. I the people that are getting I don't know, the people that are getting mad and upset over him being there. There were people who were making and honestly, there's probably some C3 fans out there making a big deal about him being at the Derby and all that stuff.
Colby Griffin,
and it's just it's a funny thought. You know what's hysterical is everybody was saying a lot of people were saying the exact same thing about CJ Stroud and his white party. You know what I mean? Like Bryce Young's out here cooking in the lab, and CJ Stroud's out there at a white party, not really focusing too much on getting better at playing the game and all that. Dude, this is all just your belief is that these guys can't have a moment of relaxation or anything along those lines. And in this case, he's building the brand of Carolina right now. Like that's the part of this that I think is hard for people to grasp. Is like this isn't just he's out there doing something to benefit himself and nobody else. He's out here doing something that's helping the Carolina Panthers get a name brand. Right now, people that aren't Carolina Panthers love this dude. Absolutely love this dude. And we should be embracing that. The fact that we're just making this big deal about something as silly as him going to the Kentucky Derby, which, by the way, he literally has a dance about riding a horse. So let's not pretend like this isn't on brand for him. It's just, I don't know. It's just, again, fake rage just for the sake of being, some sort of a victim again. It's frustrating.
Yeah, he's put on a lot of weight. He's been beefing up. And then, people are getting on to him saying that he isn't preparing in the right ways because there's clips of him boxing. Like he's really been working on his hands. However, it's not outwardly in the way that people want.
Yeah.
And he also commented on some people's posts, that were going after him saying, he's not doing enough work on the jugs machine. And it's like he's not doing all that work in private. He's not letting everyone see all the work that he is putting in, too. I do think that after last season, after some of those drops that cost us the game and gave us Bryce Young some of Bryce Young's best performances, I think Panther fans have sort of unnecessarily held a grudge against him. And I think that's messed up. I think that we should be pulling for this guy instead of hoping that he fails or hoping that Jalen Coker replaces him. Like, to me, it's counterintuitive. And shout out my man D Money, who also says it's absolutely ridiculous how Bryce got all the grace and then everybody poo-pooing all over XL because we got another whiteout. Shit is crazy, man. I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
Does anyone feel like this is all a distraction? Like, would you prefer him not be at the Kentucky Derby doing all these things? I mean, when's the last time the Carolina Panthers have been a part of this many videos and this many, official things coming from the NFL? Like, that hasn't been us in forever.
I mean, dude, that's what I'm saying is like, I'm just happy that we're finally being at the forefront of some NFL like marketing, to be honest with you. It's been so long since we have been able to offer anything that's worth watching as a Carolina Panther fan. And it's only going to help the brand, right? There's, how many people out there are like Xavier Legette? You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be, especially in South Carolina, dude. I mean, this is just going to continue to drive fans into the Panthers' hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a clip of him at the Kentucky Derby.
All I'm out here with them horses. I'm going to be at the NFL social correspondent that week at the Kentucky Derby. So now we got a mean thoroughbred right here. Got my rider Steve right here. Got my man Ronnie right here. Hey, they're my boys now. They ride for real. So how we going to do it here? Come on. Show me ready now. Put him in the race too now if they want to do it.
I love him, dude. I love him, man. That's a part of another reason why I'm pulling for him is because that personality just has the type of humble attitude that you don't normally see in a wide receiver. Like, he doesn't fit the bill of a diva wide receiver who's demanding the ball. Like, he just seems like a good downhole dude that you would want to go fishing with and crack a beer open with, man. Like, I like the dude. I'm pulling for the dude, and I think that he can do some potential big time things in this offense. Yeah, man, like I said, I like him. I'm pulling for him. I think Panther fans give him a bit of a bad rap. Let's continue on with this show. The Carolina Panthers have once again linked to a trade, sending Jadeveon Clowney over to the San Francisco 49ers. We've been talking about this a little bit. We knew that they were shopping around during the draft. So it's interesting to revisit this. And Bleacher Report's Alex K still feels Carolina should make a major trade before the season and suggests that the Panthers should send edge rusher Jadeveon Clowney to the 49ers. They could be in the market. K wrote, there has been a clear need in the Bay Area to assist superstar Nick Bosa in the defensive trenches. The team didn't shy away from addressing the issue during the 2025 draft, utilizing a first-round pick to grab edge rusher Michael Williams. But San Fran could still use more veterans in the mix to build out the type of deep, talented pass rushing rotation that propelled the Eagles to the Super Bowl. If the Panthers are willing to ship Clowney off cheap to clear cap space and free up a roster spot, the Niners should capitalize on the situation. CK, I know we talked about this a little bit before, but is there more value to the money that you could free up by trading Jadeveon Clowney, or does his presence in this room full of young defensive players just matter more than the potential cap space?
Dude, I don't think that there's any. I'm not willing to make this team worse than it already is. for this year. Like, I think this is such an important year for our team to move in the right direction. No matter whether we're getting good value out of it or not. Like, if we're not, unless it's an offer it's too good to pass up, there's just no real benefit to it. And you put right now with the additions that we have on the edge, you're basically putting Clowney in the exact position that he was able to be the most successful in every, position that he's ever had a good year, right? And that's not being the primary guy. He's going to have that pep rotation to where he's going to be in there in situational pass rush, maybe, run defense, things like that. Keep the guy fresh, and then you allow him to show these other guys how to play the game and be a pro while doing it. I think it's never a bad idea to have a veteran presence, and getting rid of him is just not. There's not enough value from a cap perspective, and I can guarantee you nobody's going to be trading anything of significance to make it worth that worse than it already is.
Yeah, a lot of people think that we could also sign Taylor Moton, and that could free up a little bit more money too. But also a lot of it just depends on what they think of those defensive players that we drafted.
Yeah.
Because if you do feel like they're far along and, San Fran comes knocking with an offer that you can't refuse, you kind of have to listen to it. What would be reasonable for Jadeveon Clowney at this point? Like, we're probably talking like a 4th or 5th round pick, if anything, right? Like, it's probably not too much.
Right. I can't imagine you're getting more than, a third would be a surprise, but I still don't know if it'd be worth taking a third for, this year not being, it's something risking not showing improvement in the year that we're currently going into. So, I don't know. You're right. I think a 4th might be the max that we'd be looking at. And that's really pushing it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Tony, you want to talk about Jadeveon Clowney? Should we trade him or not? Another analyst wrote that, and there was multiple analysts who are basically saying that the 49ers could trade for Jadeveon Clowney and thereby give us $7.8 million in cap space if we did trade him. Potentially use that money in other places, maybe extend Taylor Moton. I know we talked about this a little bit before, but what are you thinking now?
I think that we should keep Jadeveon Clowney on the team because he is an experienced veteran that's played in multiple systems that could help ease the transition and lessen the pressure on people. And I'm sorry, is that you can be excited about these draft picks. I am excited about these draft picks. But to put the idea that these guys are going to be complete solutions to anything is farcical to me. And on top of that is what can you really get in the trade value? Think about what you would get. What do we get for some of these trades? Like a 6th, a 5th, a 4th, but screw that.
Yeah. So let me ask you the inverse of this question, which is why I titled the show tonight, should the Panthers be buyers or sellers in the trade market right now? Again, multiple other beat reporters, what have you, have started to talk about this. Should the Panthers eye potential blockbuster trade with Keyvon Thibodeaux to supercharge pass rush with the young talent and explosion? There hasn't been any trade chatter surrounding Keyvon Thibodeaux, and the Giants did exercise the 5th-year option on his contract. However, the future in New York remains unclear. The Giants traded for pass rusher Brian Burns in the offseason, then selected Abdul Carter. Carter has the potential to be a franchise-caliber sack artist, while the Giants gave Burns a 5-year, $141 million. God, dude, they so overpaid him. Extension after trading for him. Thibodeaux, the 5th overall pick in 2022, could end up being the odd man out of New York's long-term plans. The Carolina Panthers could look to pair Thibodeaux with 2nd-round pick Nick Scorton, a 3rd-rounder, Prince of McMillan, forming an exciting young edge rotation. Clowney was our top edge rusher in 24, but turned 32 in February. Boys, what do you make of Keyvon Thibodeaux? Is this worth it? Would you be willing to trade for a guy who's on the 5th-year option. Does he fit what we want to do, and does this make sense?
First and foremost, I think we're basically asking ourselves to go back to a situation that we were in last year with Brian Burns, and that is, do you pay him? And will he play throughout his 5th-year option, especially if he's coming to a team like the Panthers? I'm going to guess, and I'm going to put a pretty reasonable assumption out there, that if we were to trade for Thibodeaux, he would come and expect an extension immediately. He is not going to play this 4th year. He is going to, now I'm not saying he's going to hold out, but I think that's going to be the expectation. I also don't know that they would want to get rid of Thibodeaux. I think they would be more likely to want to try to trade Brian Burns away than they would Thibodeaux, because Brian Burns, while he wasn't a bust for them as far as production is concerned, when you match where he was with that contract, he certainly didn't live up to the contract. So I'd be interested to see how they would handle his situation. But I don't think they're prepared to get rid of Thibodeaux. I think Abdul Carter is just is going to be an opportunity. I think they're going to have an opportunity to play these guys on a rotational basis, and it might be really dangerous. And it could be the best thing for Brian Burns to not be an every down rusher also. So we'll see how they plan on playing these guys, but I'm not interested in throwing another, because we're going to end up having to pay more than probably 2 second rounds to pull him. And we got only a 2nd round to get Brian, or for them to get Brian Burns rather. Again, I'm at the point where I'd rather just keep with what we have than starting to continue to buy high again like we were doing previously. It's how we got into this mess.
Yeah. Tony Dunn, would you like to join the conversation? Keyvon Thibodeaux.
I think this is what the Giants were look concerned about, like what they think about those players. I mean, he's in a big year. Brian Burns, they paid a shit ton for, and they drafted a big time player. I don't think we should be in the market, but maybe. I mean, but like, are you really dancing with the Giants after you fleeced them, or they got fleeced for Brian Burns? I'm not really. I don't know.
And by the way, just so that you guys can put a bow on the Brian Burns situation, keep in mind, Brian Burns got us, some pieces last year, which we can talk about. Brooks all we want, but it also got us Scorton this year. So if Scorton turns out to be good, you got to keep in mind that it might have been a net positive for us coming away with a guy who's going to have now 4 years, as opposed to the need to do guaranteed contracts for Brian Burns.
Yeah, man. Let's take another call.
What's up, C3? It's JJ calling back again. I figured, you know what, I will make a second call, kind of just touch up on where I left off real quick. I won't have this call be as long as the first call. So McMillan and how he can affect the game on a play-to-play basis if he's a star player, just like who we believe our quarterback is, who is a star player in the making, at least. And not just how, like, their chunk plays and their chemistry can affect the game. Like, his presence alone on the outside, if he is a good player, if he lives up to what we want him to be, it's going to alleviate for all the other receiving options. It's going to take attention. It's going to, for the defense and how they play us. So then that can help, like, our run game and how we control the line of scrimmage. Because now we have a better player on the outside, on the perimeter you have to worry about, because he can catch the jump ball. He can break tackles once he gets the ball in his hands. And I think he's a smooth route runner. I think his separation ability and just knowing the ins and outs and when to cut and where separation is, I think that's underrated in his game. So I like the guy. I like him a lot. I'm sure a lot of the Legion knows that, because I was vouching for him a few months ago. And really just like the other picks, we wanted to shore up the defensive line so we could get on that line of scrimmage game. You know, we lacked in the pass rush department, so we specialized, or not specialized, but we prioritized edge rushers in the draft. And, you know, we got Bobby Brown and the Mother Boys to play more interior defensive line, and we're getting Derek Brown back too next year. So, I mean, we've made enough additions and acquisitions to this defensive line to even exceed our expectations. Hell, we could be a pretty good unit at times. So, but it looks like they have an idea and they have a plan, and they're starting to like throw dots at the board. You know, they're trying to, throw darts at the board, and hoping some of these hit. And to be honest, that's what's going to happen, bro. Because when you have an idea and plan set, and you're just going to be able to accomplish that. So, I think the Panthers forward. Let me know how y'all feel about the Panthers moving forward. How would y'all rate this draft class by Dan Morgan? And that'll be all, man. I love y'all, C3. Peace out.
Yeah, man. I think we keep pounding, JJ. I think we've all said that we're pretty stoked and pumped about this draft class. Again, time will tell if this is going to be our 2017 Saints draft, and if all of these guys are going to end up being, you know, maybe not all of them, but if these guys are going to end up being producers, yeah, I'm here for it. Let's take another one.
CK, Tony Dunn, Cody Lack, the C3 Legion. What's going on, everybody out there? This the Hope Dealer checking in.
What's up, Hope Dealer?
Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to everybody out there.
Happy Tuesday, brother.
It's been a week and a half or so since the draft, man. Still feeling good. Hey, I just wanted to hit y'all.
Oh, shit. Hang on, man.
CK.
Fuck, my bad, dude.
Cody Lack, the C3 Legion. What's going on, everybody out there? This the Hope Dealer checking in real quick. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to everybody out there. It's been a week and a half or so since the draft, man. Still feeling good. Hey, I just wanted to hit y'all up real quick, though. Man, did y'all see Xavier Legette at the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah,
man, that dude is hilarious, man. I was looking at that dude as far as how much bigger he seems to have gotten as well. I can't wait to see him and him and Tetairoa McMillan, man. Doing it up together. I saw something that they hadn't met quite yet. XL was waiting for him to get to the building, man, so he could give him a warm welcome. But I think it's cool, man. I think it's actually going to make XL a better receiver. I think it's going to be good for Ted as well. But anyway, man, I just want the C3 Legion to know how much I appreciate y'all, man. I've been dealing with some things personally, and I was listening to what Tony Dunn was saying last week, man. And, Big Tony, man, we just want you to know, man, that we love you. And as you go through what you're going through, man, just know that the Legion got your back, man. Stay strong, man. And to Cody Lack, man, my brother from another mother, man, the CK, to everybody out there, man, Panther Pickle, all the peeps out there, man. Everybody keep pounding, keep your head up. We're going to be all right. Love y'all.
Keep pounding, brother.
Hold on. I'm muted for a second. Thank you so much for that. It means a ton. It means a ton. And we don't know how much something means to us until we go through something, and people are empathizing with us, recognizing us, and there for us. But I've said this for so long about this podcast, about how some of the most important people in my life that I've met through here and don't necessarily have a physical relationship with, as in, I still think about the first time I met Greg. The first time I physically met Greg. And by the way, Greg, you want to talk about people this podcast, the people, we go through shit. Like humans go through the muck. And every single person on this panel that's listening to this is in the muck. And that doesn't mean your life is fucked up. It doesn't mean that things are bad or something like this.
We all go through shit.
But my brother, Greg, the Bat Daddy, the Stat Daddy, when you talk about somebody who has faced something, I think of Joe Riolano, where this podcast was birthed and born in. This mug carried a cross that was harder, heavier than any person that I could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Joe Riolano. I love you, miss you, best friend. When I met Greg, I was like great friends with him for like 3 years. And I had never, we hugged like brothers who, like a long
lost pen pals that used to pin each other during the war.
Or something. So, yes, that call means so much to me. In a day today, that is a celebration day for myself as I continue to deal with craziness in the background and difficulty. It means a lot. And thank you. Just thank you.
Yes, our C3 Legion is stronger than ever.
Yes, sir.
This was Xavier Legette talking about how he hasn't yet spoken to Tetairoa. He's waiting for the moment that they can actually meet in person. By the way, boys, look at Xavier Legette here. My man's looking built. Like, again, you understand why they give him the DK Metcalf comparisons. Homie is yoked, you know what I'm saying?
Tetairoa? No.
You haven't? How does that work with wide receivers and wide receiver rooms?
You see, man, I didn't want to text him yet. I want to talk to him when he come in, so I can build that relationship with him once he get in there. But he's a good player, man. I was even watching him play last year, seeing what he was doing. He's making some incredible catches. I think he's gonna do good in the NFL.
What sticks out about him when you're watching?
Man, just the way how he can go up and high point that ball, and he kind of quick too. He kind of quick.
He's quick. I love that. I mean, that's big expectations for Bryce.
All right, Xavier Legette. Yeah, that dynamic is going to be fun. Here's to hoping that those two dudes become fast friends. Well, let's finish out 4 more calls and then 2 slides, and we're done for the night, boys.
Hey, what's going on? D, Sanford, North Carolina.
D Money.
Everybody's having a great evening. Hope everybody's blessed and in the best state of mind and heart and so forth. And I just want to say, it's a new year. OTAs and voluntary workouts, and you're gonna have guys that are gonna do big things. Before I go any further, shout out to Tony Dunn, Cody, CK. Most definitely shout out to Cole, Diesel, Skills, and Jake. I love y'all to the bottom of my heart. It's been a rough year, not just for me, a lot of you all. And now we're at the cusp of great things beginning to happen, foundation set and so forth. And I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. I hope that everything works out. Team will be better this year. Y'all continue to do y'all coverage. It'll be great. All y'all keep pounding. If y'all are not with them now, pretty sure you're not welcome to the parade. D Money here. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Dude, C3 Legion's here for one another, man. We have built the best Panthers fan community on YouTube, I believe on the internet, man. We want everyone to feel like they have a voice here. That's what we do, man. 3 more calls.
What's up, C3? It's Tyler here. Hope you guys are having a great evening.
What's up, Tyler?
I'm at the point where I feel like we shouldn't trade Jadeveon Clowney. I can understand why people are talking about that. I understand that there's a big cap hit from him. We would get I believe, saved just under $8 million in cap savings, and we can use that for a safety in a corner, which I feel like we should still be on the market and looking for depth and competition at those positions. Corner, very, very thin outside of J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson. And then safety, you have obviously Trayvon Moore that's going to start. But is DeMonte Richardson going to take over the free safety position? Is Lathan Ransom going to take over that position? I want to see more competition there. So I feel like if we can somehow find just a good, decent depth piece, because we saw how bad the secondary was, especially with injuries. So if we can, and I don't think we need to trade Jadeveon Clowney for this. I think we could finagle the cap a little bit where we can keep Jadeveon. And the reason why I want to keep him is because, one, he's going to add an extra body. He wasn't a bad player, just our defensive front was god-awful because we had Derek Brown was out. We had no nose tackle. Just the line overall was horrible. So he wasn't able to really capitalize and have a better season last season. But also, he adds another body in that rotation to keep the legs fresh. And more importantly, more so, in my opinion, is having him be a mentor to Nick Scorton and Princely. I think that just being able to really help them develop is worth the money for me. So I'm not I can understand why people want to trade him, but at the end of the day, I really wanted him to stay another year and help this edge rusher group and the rookies that we just drafted. But I do think we need to look out, not so much trade, but maybe still look on the market for a cornerback, maybe get Asante Samuel at corner, had played for the Chargers last year. But there's not tons of talent, obviously, at the corner secondary position at corner safety, but just some somewhat decent depth pieces. That's all I'm looking for. So not sure what your guys' thoughts are, but keep pounding. You guys have a great night. See you on the next.
Honestly, what value would you get in a trade?
None. A future fifth, maybe a sixth. You know what I'm saying? He has no trade value right now. Yeah. I agree. I say keep him for the depth, keep him for the rotation. Yeah. Unless you can get a crazy deal for him and you just love Princely and Nick Scorton, yeah.
But you can't love them. They're rookies who are second and third round players. You can like them. You can love them. You can't count on them, though.
Right. Until they make us love them.
No, not maybe they do. But then you trade them in mid-season. No. I mean, it's not. What are you going to trade for?
Yeah, no reason to now.
6th round pick. Think about a player who had 300 yards and what was the guy that did nothing? The wide receiver that went to the Texans, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
And what did he get? Nothing. No, it's just silly. It's Madden. It's Madden-esque. Sorry, man. Let the rookies. The problem with this is we put too much on our evaluations, our expectations, and all of this. Oh, we did this. It's gonna work. We did this. It's gonna work. No, let the players progress. Take some. I think XL is a wonderful example of this. Is that all of these mugs and the reactionary? We're so reactionary as a society, and maybe humans have always been reactionary. Maybe I'm not like, oh well, we weren't reactionary 100 years ago or something like that. But we are. I do think that I've watched this podcast grow over 10 years. We have been more and more reactionary every year to the draft, to the this and the that. Like, I'm sorry, is that what XL did last year may not have met your expectations, but that does not mean that he's impossible of a player or something to that effect.
No.
If you put a player in here and you say, oh, he's got to start all 17 games and he doesn't do it, he's got to learn, it's too much. XL could thrive all of a sudden. Don't make these. I think it's armchair GM that we're falling into.
Yeah, a little bit. Two more call. Do you want to say something?
No, it's I agree wholeheartedly with everything Tony just said.
Yeah, man. All right, two more calls.
What's up, y'all? It's Kyle from Wilmington, aka Charlotte Sports One.
Kyle, what up, Kyle?
I'm happy with our draft. I'm happy with where we're at. I'm happy with the moves that we've made so far. I'm waiting for the safety news now, because with Morig and Ransom, that's good additions, and that kind of fills out the room a little bit. That I think that brings us to 4. But that's not enough for me personally. I think we need another safety, and I think it needs to be that Julian Blackman, or it needs to be somebody else that's can strap up and get in there and play game 1 if he's got to. I don't want to see the team in a position where Nick Scott has to take the field on something other than special teams. I don't want to see the team in a position where Sho Smith-Wade and Damani Richardson are the only 2 safeties on the field. They're both decent, but at the same time, I need a little bit more star power in the safety room. Just let me know what you guys think about that. Keep pounding, y'all.
Keep pounding, boys.
I've been screaming for a safety position personally, but
go ahead and keep going, CK.
Yeah, we've been saying that safety is one of our biggest weaknesses. It has been for a while, and it's we've had it. Obviously, we added that one guy that seems to be a big hitter that reminds Cody, I think you said, of Kurt Coleman, but I just don't know that I'm sold on the guy yet. I do think that that safety is still something I think we need to address as a team. But I think that we should have addressed it in a first or second round this draft. But I'm not upset about Tet being the guy. I just want to make that clear. In the moment, it's easy to kind of get overwhelmed by the idea of going offense after we've had the defense be so crap. But I don't know. Again, I feel like it's more short. It's better than it was last year, but I still think we need to make a bigger focus on it if there's somebody available.
I don't know if it's better than it was last year in CK because we haven't seen any of these players play. They're just Morig. We just got new names, Nick Scott. We don't know who they are and what they're going to do on this team. I think this is what irritated me the most with Steve Smith's comment was he made this definitive list of needs for the Panthers. It was like, you need an end, you need a this. And then he was like, wide receiver was number 4. We talked about this on this podcast. We went through like a top 5 list of needs. Like we all ranked it. And what kind of made me, I won't say mad, Cody, in that podcast is when we had our pre-pod, like we met, like we called each other like for the first time ever. And we were like, we're trying to do better about prepping on the podcast and stuff. I was like, I think we should do a top 7. And then we ended up doing a top 5. We could have done a top 9 needs.
Yeah, we had a million different holes that we had to fill the offseason.
When Steve Smith goes, oh, here are your needs 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they were so definitive, and he even ranked safety up there. He didn't rank, you know what I mean? Like, is that?
Yep.
I think the safety is a giant issue on this team, and you can't address everything in one single draft or one single offseason. But there are some like these guys better stay healthy and they better be good.
Hey, they better, man. It's prove it season. Last call of the night.
What up, y'all? It's Kyle from Wilmington. Sorry, I had a second call, but I just had a thought that come to me. With all the additions that we made in the defense this year, do we want Evero and this defense to be awesome and jump from 32nd to 15th to show how much growth and how much the injuries hurt us last year, or do we want to see marginal growth and Evero still want to leave at the end of the year? Because I think that's my biggest fear going into the season, is that our defense looks good enough that he wants to stay, and that doesn't sit well with me. Anyways, boys, keep pounding.
I mean, Tony, how do you feel about that, man?
I really don't care about Ejiro Evero. Like, I mean, I do. Like, I understand I'm not trying to shit. I'm not ready to shit on him because he's had a funky bunch and a funky team and everything, right? Like, so it's not like his scheme is the problem, this and that. But it does feel like there have been moments where he's had influence on the players that came into this defense, right? And we can go back 2 years ago. And who was the guy that he looked like he was stoned and smoking weed? He had a lazy eye. And he was, God, what was he? He was like a 5th or 6th round pick. He had a good rookie year. He was a nose tackle. He was the only nose tackle that we had that was like, oh, and then he's like, we want to go light. So we went. So Ejiro Evero hasn't done anything either to prove to me that he's a genius or that he can make do with what he's got and he can do this. And at the same time, he's been dealt a bad hand, right? Like, so, I mean, on one hand, I want to give him grace and optimism or forgive or whatever is leniency, maybe, because he didn't have the pieces. On the other hand, I do believe there have been fingerprints for him all over this defense. If you look at guys that he's brought in from the Rams, from the Broncos, this and that. So I have no grace nor I think that he survived a year longer than he probably should have as a defensive coordinator. And now it's time, like you say, Cody, to prove it. And there were no excuses. And honestly, I don't think there were any excuses last year. And you can say injuries, but this and that. But there were about to be no excuses for Bryce Young last year.
Yeah,
after the first eight games or whatever it was, until Bryce, there was no excuses made for him. There were no excuses made for anybody else. So I don't have any excuses for Ejiro Evero. I'm sorry, like his injuries, this and that. I don't think he has just been a puppet who's like, oh, I got to deal with what I got to deal with. I really believe that he's brought in players and continued to say, all right, well, you want to invest in the offensive line. I can do it with these guys. I can do it with these guys. You know, it didn't work. So I think, I mean, like we're at the end of the rope with him.
Yeah, to me, like I said, Ejiro last year did not have a lot of good talent at his disposal. A lot of injuries, but they did a lot of work this year. And like I said, a good year or a bad year, to me, he's not very long for being a Panthers coach. We just need one good year out of him and really try to get the most out of these pieces that we have given him. The final two slides of the night, boys, and we are out of here. Analyst predicts that a Panthers draft steal. Let me enlarge this so I can read. Analyst predicts Panthers draft steal will stun NFL from day one. Eric Galko from the Shrine Bowl highlighted Evans as a player who can help the Panthers immediately. He believes the well-rounded skill set possessed by the former Notre Dame standout could form a potential long-term relationship with Jadeveon Sanders much sooner than most anticipate. Panthers landed an NFL-ready complete tight end in Notre Dame's Mitchell Evans, tough, physical tight end who can win in line and in space as a receiver. should be able to step in and be a key part of the Panthers tight end room with the ceiling to develop into an ideal complement piece to last year's pick, JT Sanders. Tony, I put this in there because I know you like the late round tight end who isn't drafted too early before they should be. I mean, this is the definition
I like
of the
a
type of guy that you're
mid-round tight end first round. Let me say that is I don't like a first round tight end. Let's not over skew my opinion on this. Is that we got to get a what round was this guy? Like fifth? Sixth?
Fifth round.
Yeah. Nah, I don't love a late round tight end. I just said I don't love a first round tight end. So let's not overplay my hand on
So
this.
what's too far? Is the second round too high for a tight end?
No, I don't think so. I think I've told you over and over a top 15 pick is troublesome to me.
Right.
And that you guys this might have been the first year that you guys maybe even taught me into it as being a top player. And you know what? I'm all right with where the Panthers went with Tet. Right now, I mean, like now I feel vindicated on this. But no, don't put me in this box out of a late tight end. I think this is that we generally find that, or at least I have found that you get these tight ends in the third, second, maybe even second, third, fourth round, and they turn out to be a first round regrade. So you know what? If this kid's great, blah, blah, blah. You know what? You guys also told me that Tommy Tremble was going to be a boss. He was a second round pick.
All of our coaches have been terrible, though, man. I still think Tommy
I don't
Tremble
care
could
about
be somebody.
coaches and this and that. And I don't even think Tommy Tremble is ass. I'm not even saying that. But you think I'm going to go just all pop off all of a sudden because somebody wrote a little blog that said this late round guy is going to be great or whatever? I don't know. But I don't think you should draft a tight end in the top 15 usually. It's not and you, Cody, have always been a voice of not reason. I don't like that. Like a counter.
Why not? Yeah, I'm the reason.
No, you're not a voice of reason.
Yeah,
Fuck that. You are not a voice of reason. You're a counter.
Big time reason over here.
Pendulum counterpoint. And that is, you've said a couple of things. Don't draft them by their helmet. Don't do like this. Don't get locked into a mentality.
Sounds pretty reasonable.
I respect. It's not reasonable. It's just
it is.
Counterpoints. I respect it, but that doesn't mean that I'm just going to all of a sudden go crazy about some dude in the late round.
But you don't go crazy about anyone generally.
Right. You might.
That's why.
Right now.
No, also, this is why you're not the draft guy.
People listening and the people on this.
This is why you're not the draft guy. Because Tony's like, fuck him. I'll see him until let me see them do something. Which I understand. It's also a good feeling to
I'm
see
from
a guy.
Missouri.
To see a guy in college, who maybe isn't highly talented, but then to watch his film and to see that he actually has something, and then for him to turn out to be a good player. By the way, George Kittle was drafted in the 4th or 5th round, so
that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't wait.
Yeah, CK.
I can't wait.
Man, I am so indifferent on this. I don't really like. It's hey, if it turns out to be great, good. Jadeveon Sanders, I'm still rocking with as well, because he was he had some flashes last year. Let's not get it twisted. Outside of him getting hurt, I think
that's an important
that hindered
point.
him.
That's an important point, CK.
Yeah.
And
we just paid Tremble
about how hype we were on Jadeveon Sanders and also how much the Panthers invested in him. He should be, if we're talking on this podcast about tight ends, we should be talking about him being a dude that's going to be a stud, be a boss going forward. Instead of some whatever that we need to pad. Now the room's thin, just like the safety. There ain't no bodies there, CK. There's no bodies in the safety room. There's no bodies in the tight end room. But Jatavian Sanders is the guy that not only has we invested in, but has shown real potential. Why would I all of a sudden be like, oh, this guy's about to be a dude?
Yeah. I mean, and we got to keep in mind, we also did extend Tommy Tremble as well. So, I mean, to assume he's not going to have some sort of a major role in this offense would be, simply naive, to be quite honest with you. Because, I mean, it wasn't like a game-breaking contract, but it was more than I think any of us would have expected him to get to come back. So, I think that all of these players have a potential to impact the team. I'll just be honest with you out front. I'm not sure that this guy is going to get very many looks this year to actually get out on the field. But I do think that absolutely he could be a potential star. It's just we've just got to wait and see how it goes. And unfortunately, so much of this is going to be based on how we handle, how quarterback play is, how offensive play calling is, how the overall coaching is, as Cody had alluded to with some of the people in our past not working out. So I'm indifferent. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, it's no skin off my back.
Yep. Boys, that is a show. That is it.
We didn't even we didn't talk about Steve Smith and it's all right. Steve Smith facing some love lost allegations back in the background. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. It's the longest running Panthers podcast. That's right. We've been doing it every Tuesday night, longer than everybody, even the damn team, weekly. And you guys, you're the reason for the season. Wait, no, Jesus the reason for the season, but you're the reason that we keep running and slogging through this as this phone blows up with bitch ass motherfuckers that are ex-wives. Then you go. Actually, we love you. And it's a day of celebration. It's a day of celebration for Tony Dunn. I'm one closer to liberation. And one day, 2 weeks from now, I think it's going to be 2 weeks, Cody. I'm going to have my mic back. I'm going to have a little studio set up. It's going to be great.
Heck.
But I want to thank Cody Lack, so importantly, for being my boy through everything. I want to thank CK for being my brother through everything. Mm-hmm. And I want to thank the C3 Legion who run the spaces and doing their thing and every day. And I want to thank all the listeners and people that are still watching or watching in the beginning or watching now for hanging out with us. You smash the thumbs up button, you subscribe, you could be a C3 super fan. We're about to bring the biggest season of the C3 Panthers podcast. Liberation time. Liberation. Tony going to be free. And thank you for your calls. We got one last segment, Cody. Time.
Let's do it.
To ice some fools up. I'm sorry, Steve Smith, that you might be getting sued for loss of affection. We ain't gonna ice you up. Maybe. We don't know. Let's ice some fools up.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's our time to ice somebody up. That's any mofo who needs to be told to toughen up, get it together, to ice up. Put some ice on that injury. We have not had many death videos lately. I'm still waiting for Cody. I know he doesn't have one. He's been probably working on his new computer so hard. He's been hitting me up for these passwords. He's like, hey, what's this and that? And he's got to get his mic set, right? This and that. I was like, where's my death video? I don't know where it is, but I expect one soon. In a couple of weeks, you better hit me up with somebody almost, but not dying on the internet that we can laugh about. It's our time to ice up, toughen up, tell someone to get it together. What you got?
Dude, it's funny that you said you wanted me to bring some death videos because I'm like, I don't have that for you.
I know you don't.
Let me just let you down easy right now. I'm actually icing up death because literally a couple hours ago it was reported that now apparently India and Pakistan are shooting missiles into each other's countries. This comes after a crazy terrorist attack. So, dude, just everything in the world, man. It's just a reminder that in a time of crazy war, we all just need to be a part of the C3 Legion. So, ice up to people still doing wars and stuff, bro. That's just dumb as fuck. Move on. Let's not do it. Everybody chill. Find something that grows from the earth naturally. Maybe wrap that up and then maybe share that. That's what I think the world really needs. So to everybody shooting missiles in and at one another, ice up. I also got another call, Tony, from C-Dog, who wants us to play.
Put it through.
Well, do your ice up. And do your ice.
A little time to maybe come up with an ice up pick before I roll off on the world.
What was that?
I said you might have look. We're gonna play C-Dog's call.
All right,
and it might give you a little time to come up with an ice up.
I got
pick.
one.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's play C-Dog's call real quick. Well, nope. Let's do this. Let's go with CK.
I got it. You just gotta give me a second. I had to download it.
CK, go with your ice up pick right now.
All right. So, on the point of war that Cody brought up, I don't know how many people here watch stand-up comedy, but there's a show on YouTube called Kill Tony. They actually did a Netflix show as well.
Whoa.
Not you. And it's something that I watch pretty much every month or every week religiously. Yeah. And it's just hysterical. Well, this week, they had Antonio Brown on as a guest. And it's just the dude, he showed up, and number one, the dude was just blitzed. He was from the moment he started speaking, you could tell this dude was absolutely out of his mind. But he was there, promoting his business. And one of the things he has, hold on, let me get this pulled up here. He has this new hat that it's called the Crash Out Bucket. And he wore it on Joe Rogan. So if anybody watched him on Joe Rogan, you know what I'm about to show. But he just looks goofy as hell wearing this thing. And so, oops, it's not sharing the right one.
Wait, hold on. I gotta take this down.
There it is. So we have Antonio Brown selling Vietnam helmets, basically. And he's wearing this thing during the show the entire time, ready to sell these helmets. He's selling for $200.
Dude, he's probably sold a boatload of them too.
Oh,
dude.
Sure. But the thing about this that's so wild to me is like he's not even selling them as though like they're authentic, like actual war helmets or anything like that. These are straight up just things that he is producing. And so I just found that to be absolutely hysterical. This dude's out here just promoting his Vietnam helmet. Anyway, I just want to say ice up Antonio Brown, even though he's got me rolling most of the time on Twitter, but this is just wild.
I saw you posted it in one of the chats that he was on Kill Tony. No, it's a great show. Shout out to C-Dog. Let's play C-Dog's call, and then we will get up out of here. By the way,
I gotta get my ice up pick after C-Dog. Don't worry.
Yeah, for sure. Also, Keila Zio, that was on me. I made the show and it said it to 12 a.m. because my computer had the wrong time. So that was on me, brother. Sorry, man.
Brand new computer. Grace.
Hope that you can
He was on Pacific time.
Yeah, I really was. Like, what the fuck? Appreciate you though, bro. We'll catch you on the free for all, and hope to catch you on the VOD. Final call of the night, then we'll get Tony's ice up.
What's going on, man? It's me, T-Dog 1983 TV. Man, I was just calling up with everybody, man. And I'm ready for this schedule to come out. I'm ready for the season to start. The only thing I'm mad about is can't see training camp because Tepper done burnt bridges with fucking Wofford College and Spartanburg. Like, I don't know. It's nothing for him to pick up the phone and put his feelings to the side and just take training camp back to fucking Wofford, to Spartanburg until they get shit done in Charlotte. You know, to me, all that shit was dumb as fuck. It's just stay in Wofford. That's my personal opinion. Training camp in Charlotte is whack as fuck. I mean, it's just, you gotta spend way more fucking money. It's cheaper to go to training camp in fucking Spartanburg. But anyways, man, when you come here, man, make sure you hit the fucking like button, man. Make sure you subscribe to this great fucking content. The C3 Podcast is the longest running Panthers podcast on YouTube. They do go live every Tuesday, and they had the free for all every Friday, and they had the Madden game simulation during the season every Saturday. Then they got the game recap on Sunday.
Shout out to C-Dog, bro.
I just want to come in here and just say hey to everybody, man. And I'm ready to get this season started, man. You know, that's about it. But everybody have a great fucking day. And, man, just like and subscribe to the content, man. These guys, you know, they've been consistent the last 12 years, you know. I've been fucking with them. I can't wait to goddamn smoke some of this good gas with Cody. You know, Greg, whoever wants to smoke some gas with me. I can't wait, man.
Who here? Everybody
Anyways,
here.
man, C3 Podcast is the fucking best. C-Dog 1983 TV is about to get the fuck up out of here. Everybody have a great fucking night. Keep pounding.
I hope I'm standing to the left. I hope I'm standing to the left.
Pass that thing to the left. Keyvon Thibodeaux with the $4.99 love bomb says, for what I'm sure is a great show about to start from the beginning. Alex, appreciate you, brother. You were great on the free for all last Friday. Y'all go check out Keyvon Thibodeaux on YouTube. Panther content creators support Panther content creators. Tony, I summon up, brother.
Oh, I got to here. Ice up right away. Don't weaponize your kids against somebody, motherfucker. Stand up and be yourself.
Ooh.
Instead of doing that. Instead of sending 11-year-olds to stand in front of you like you've been, like we're in World War I, sending arms across on the Lusitania and being like, we're sending women and children out in front of the army. Why don't you just go ahead and message? Number 2, Celebration Day. This homie finally closed on his house. It's out. It's over. Liberation Day. Money. Nope. There ain't no money, because as soon as the money comes in, you got to make up for all the sins of the problems. I sent a wire transfer today that made me so nervous to pay off a debt. I was like, damn. I was talking to the lady in the bank. I was like, you need to put all this in the notes. We need to make sure everything gets this, because this money's going to go. I was like, this happens once. There ain't no more money. It's gone. It's gone. So ice up to you motherfuckers who damn put, you know what? Ice up to myself on this. I'm going to ice up on myself on this one, is that don't try to solve if somebody can't be content with themselves, whatever you do can't make them content. You know? Like, I mean, if they can't be fulfilled, whatever you do can't fulfill them, and you will pay the repercussions. The last thing that I'm going to ice up, and maybe it's not the last thing, because I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ice ups here.
Oh, Lord.
Bro,
Let's pick one.
Bill Maher. You know what? I used to hate Bill Maher. He was
I'm interested in hearing this.
So left and crazy and bananas. To me, I was like, I could not listen to him. But even the most left, crazy bananas dude has become fed up. He has become fed up with the bananas. It's not the left. It's not the right. It's extremism. That's what he became fed up with. He became fed up with extremism. And I encourage everybody to go watch the latest clip that's running around about this stupid ass show that's called Love is Blind.
Oh, God.
Bro, Love is Blind. This girl, which it's a great. First of all, he had 2 or 3 mistakes.
Is that where he like leaves her at the altar, or she leaves him?
Yes,
or something?
yes. So this just happened this week. Recently. They get to the altar. They're about to get married, and I don't want to I'm not trying to celebrate Bill Maher here, right? Because he did have he had a great fit on. He had a great suit, great tie. You know, I mean, he was like, he's been a douchebag in so many ways that's been insufferable for so long to me. Like, so extremist left. He was an extremist left that was like, I thought I was extremist, and these extremists made me feel fucking zany, right? So he had this great fit on. He had a great tie on. It's like, go watch it. But he pulls this up. It's the best. Go watch Bill Maher, Politics, Love is Blind, or something like that. But he makes a joke about the Democrats. And I don't care. Democrats, Republicans. I'm joking on extremism at this point. But this woman on Love is Blind, but she does make this great joke, even though he bumbled a couple of times because he's running off the teleprompter, right? They're pre-written jokes. Like he didn't even deliver perfectly on everything. But this girl leaves this dude at the altar on this reality show, Love is Blind. And it's because she goes, Black Lives Matter. And we're like, wow. And it's like, and he goes, I just haven't thought about it that much. Like he's like a 22-year-old kid that's not invested. She said, well, my sister is gay. And he's like, I'm fine with the gay community. Like he didn't have no problems. Like he just wasn't It
wasn't his entire fucking personality.
And the best joke was this: is the guy, he said, my head is full of fantasy football stats. Like I'm here to talk about fantasy football. Yeah, he's like, I'm cool. Like, and he's like, yeah, he was like, I was like, not. He just wasn't woke enough. Like he wasn't even anti. He was just. I won't even say like fuck. He wasn't even dumb. He was just like not a crusader. And
yeah, he's just like the majority of people in the world.
Right. And she was a non-crusader who thought she was a crusader. And it's so bananas. You have to go watch the Bill Maher Love is Blind section. It is absolutely golden, because if you're going to find love, I don't suggest a reality TV show. I also don't suggest finding anybody that was involved in my past life either. Oh, boom. Ice up, motherfuckers. That's it.
Ice up. Yeah, I watched that show maybe 2 times in the past.
He's gotten great, dude. Like, I mean, No.
I love it. Dude, I've actually followed Bill Maher for a long time, and he got into a lot of trouble recently because he's friends with Kid Rock, and Kid Rock and Donald Trump are boys. So he invited Bill Maher to the White House, and Bill Maher spoke with them, and apparently he had disagreements with them, but they were cordial. But people on the left were mad that Bill Maher even spoke to him. And Bill Maher was like, by the way, to Bill Maher's credit, he's like, we fucking lost. How are you not going to sit down and talk with the people that won? You're never going to change or do anything better. And partisan politics have ruined the fucking world, dude. It sucks all around. Everyone
Cody,
sucks,
he was
man.
speaking to his own people. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
and he does that a lot.
Simple people would not. I'm sorry, I'm not saying simple people, but like people don't really get the layers of the comedy or the dialogue. Would not realize that he's not talking shit.
Yeah,
he's having a dialogue with the people he actually agrees with. Like he was having a dialogue with the people that he's on their literal side.
Trying to kind of tone down the levels of crazy.
And he said this. He told this girl, he said, it's like the best line was, it's like, we all wanted, she was like, oh, I want him to be more. He was like, I'm good with this. And they asked him, the girl left him at the altar for these reasons. And he said, when it came to the transgender community, he just said, I hadn't thought about it that much. His answer was he hadn't thought about it that much. He didn't have a negative answer. He didn't have a positive, like, it was like, he was like, well, and then what his response was, is like, we all want to be better. He said, I want to go to bed without taking a gummy. That was what his answer was. It's like, but guess what? But the whole point is the dude didn't even say anything wrong. He didn't even say a wrong thing. He just didn't say enough to fulfill. And that actually is a great circumstance, a circle back to what I'm trying to say, is that you can't fill a cup with a hole in the bottom. And if you do, you turn out to be me, who has tried to fill and fill and fill. And thank God, I'm not bankrupt. I'm liberated, and I might have a studio in 2 weeks. It's happening, baby. The C3 Panthers podcast is always happening on Tuesday nights. Ice up to them motherfuckers. Ice up to that. You know who. Yeah, I'm talking about. And Cody, thank you. Told you, 30 days. We're down to like 15 days now. I got you, brother.
Hey, by the way, has my webcam been good all night? Because sometimes I do this.
You don't know. I'm on Wi-Fi and that don't even, like, I'm in a space.
Well, because I'm trying to figure out, because
I'm
hold on,
I don't know.
I'm getting ready to have 2 monitors, but like I put them up on side by side, and sometimes, like when I'm looking at it right now, it's choppy as hell.
Yeah, it's choppy for me.
Hold on, does this fix it?
Yeah.
So it's only when I do that dual screen thing. Okay. Learning new stuff on the fly. I need to change some settings and stuff. But hey, C3 Legion, we love y'all, man. Every Tuesday night at 9. Be there this Friday at 7 p.m. for the show that you can be a part of. The Friday Free for All. Every Friday at 7 p.m. C3 Legion, we love you. Until next time, keep pounding.